Okay, we're going to look at two really neat features that are visualization specific. One is called sketchy lines. So sometimes you're going to want to take a view and make it look like more like it was hand drawn. It could be a presentation for the title sheet of a project. It could be to reinforce the fact that the design is concept versus set in stone, because some clients might have this sort of sense that if they see it officially modeled, that everything is set in stone, but it's a subconscious sort of thing. So I've got the file visualization tools open, and that file has an elevation created called South Entry Prelim. If you're using your own commercial design model, then you will want to duplicate an existing elevation and then adjust the crop boundaries to focus just on whatever area you want to experiment with. So here it is. I've left it in 2D hidden as a visual style, just to show that this feature works, or how this feature works. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to zoom in just in this area right here. Now in our quick access bar, we've got our visual style icon, and when you click on that, we've seen this before, all the different visual styles that are available. We can fine-tune those, however, if we wish, using the graphic design options dialog box. So there are a number of headings here. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail about many of them, except for if you look here, we have sketchy lines. Watch what happens if I check off Enable Sketchy Lines and click Apply. What it does is it will replace all line work with what looks like sketched out lines. As a matter of fact, if I zoom out, you can see what the overall effect is. Please note that the level lines and text are not affected by this, because if they were, they would be difficult to read, and communication is a major part of the whole process of generating construction drawings. So let's look at some of the few options that are available just for this feature. We can increase the intensity of the jitter. Let me actually zoom in on that area again. Also note the sketchy lines extend beyond what they normally would have extended to, and that is another effect that we're going to look at. So sketchy lines. Jitter is the extent of the sketchiness, if you will. So you can control that. If you want to go extreme, so if we look at this outwards, it doesn't look too bad, although those front steps are kind of really difficult to discern that they're front steps. So let's go back into this. So I'm going to bring that back to about 6, I think. Extension refers to how far beyond the sketchy lines will extend. So I've got this set to 10 right now. If you just opened up the model, actually yours is probably set to 10 as well. If you bring down that number, then you can see, and if I bring it down to 0, see there's no extension whatsoever. So it's going to be an aesthetic decision as to how much detail you're going to want with this if you're going to use this particular feature. Okay, so that's sketchy lines, and it's kind of a neat effect. It only affects whatever the current view is. So we used elevations here, but it could be a plan view or whatever. It has no effect whatsoever on the construction drawings. All right, the original plan views. So let me turn off sketchy lines. I'll click OK, and I'm going to just move or zoom out so we can see everything here. Let's take a look at, let's see, let's change our visual style to realistic. Actually, I think I won't bother with realistic. Let's do shaded. So I just did shaded because we don't have as much detail like the brick exterior and so on. It's a little easier to see what's going on. And I'm going to turn on shading. So you can actually see shading. And remember from the previous video how we can define where our building is in the world, what the date and time is. So the shading that we see is based on all that information. If we go to our graphics display, actually let me zoom in on this area. You can kind of see there's a bit of a jag there. And if because of the angle of the shadowing and so on, if it's too jagged, sometimes what you're going to want to do is go to the graphic display options, and up here we've got in the model display area smooth lines with anti-aliasing, and it's actually not having much of an effect on this particular view. Maybe if we change the view to realistic. Okay, so it isn't going to make a whole lot of difference. Oh, there we go. I didn't hit apply before. So let's go back to shaded, apply. So I'll zoom in on that area again. So there is a bit of a jag there. And so if we go back to our graphics display options, we turn on smooth lines with anti-aliasing and apply, you can see how much smoother that looks. Okay. So that's pretty nifty. So that pretty much covers that particular feature. You can even see that the shading is affecting the mullions in our curtain wall. There are lots of other sort of features that we can choose from in graphic display. Let's say I go back to hidden line. Depth queuing allows us to, if we have information that is like elevation for walls beyond our current view, we can affect, and I'm not sure if I can do that with this particular example, but we could, oops, I guess I should go back to shaded. We could make stuff, information in the background fade, so you can get a better sense of which surfaces are forward, which are back. The model I have currently isn't displaying information in a fashion that would actually be, I'd be able to show you how that works. Okay, so that ends this video.